Hey ladies, and welcome to our first #Well Talk, and our topic today is praying well. I have two wonderful ladies right beside me. One is Marissa Jones, and then Andy. Y'all, so I call her Andy, but her name is Andrea. So for me, it'll be Andy Pendergrass. Yes. So I have these two ladies here today. I really wanted to talk about some real life stuff that we all go through and really talk candidly about the topic of prayer. Now, I know everybody's relationship with God looks totally different. And I wanted to bring two other ladies because I want to hear you all's perspective about what you really do in your personal prayer time and how you go about that approach with you and God, because I think it's different for everybody, right? Like everybody's approach is totally different, and it's not wrong or bad or right or whatever. It's just kind of you. So my first question today for both of you ladies, and it doesn't really matter who chimes in first, but what would you say your relationship and your time with God looks like? Is it formatted? Like, do you go in with a certain agenda, or do you kind of just go in and like, okay, Lord, whatever you got for me today, this is what's happening?
I don't really go in with an agenda. I feel like it's unformatted just because so many other areas of my life I need to be formatted and need to be like bullet point agenda.
Yeah.
So with my time with the Lord and prayer, it really is just a time for me to be completely free, completely vulnerable, take a back seat, and just kind of be in a position to receive what I need at the time, because he always knows what I need even beyond what I do. So I may have some ideas that have been floating around throughout the week or throughout the day that I want to come to him about, and I definitely have a journal where I could jot those things down. But it in that space, I'm kind of just in the space to mention those things, but in reality, it's really more so just me getting refreshed from all of the times that I've had to pour out and do so many different things.
That's so good. A time of refreshing. I like that. What about you, Marissa? What's your time look like?
I think for me in the past, I did approach it as a format, like I had to,
Okay, Lord, here it is. 1, 2, 3.
Speaking in tongues, shouting. But I think now I just, like Andy said, I just want to have a time where I receive from him.
Yeah.
So I just come with an open heart, and whatever it is he wants to share with me, or especially like for me, it's convicting me on just different areas of my life that I may not be as gentle or loving or forgiving. I noticed like lately he's really been getting me together when it comes to just, I think sometimes like if I'm having a tough day, or even with my career, and I may be a little snappy. And I'm like, okay,
been there, done that.
Didn't spend enough time with God. So, for me, it's just a time to just allow him to pour into me whatever it is that I need to get my day, going.
Yeah.
Or even not just in the beginning. If it's like midday, I find that if I'm really, really frustrated, it's because of a lack of spending that time with him. So
that's so good. And I like what you said, because you were like, he shows me.
Yeah.
And have y'all ever had that where it's like the Lord showed you and it was not something you really liked? You were like, "Oh, I do that." You had to look at that and go, "Oh, that's me." But in that, I think in that space, he's able to be real. People say check us, right? But it's so loving, and it never comes across as like judgment. You know what I'm saying? Although it very well could have been.
Right.
But it always comes off in so much love, and he's just like, yeah, you really could have did that better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is true.
And for me, it took a long time, because I feel like, I don't know, when you're a child, and, I grew up going to church, and so you kind of form different kind of expectations based off of things you may have heard, snippets. So for me, I always expected that, like, when you pray, that I'm supposed to hear like this James Earl Jones story. And when I didn't hear that, I felt like my prayer, like I wasn't doing something right. Like I'm not hearing it of that because I'm not praying right, and my prayers aren't getting through, and just different things that church can tell you about prayer. Like if you don't pray in tongues this amount of time, or if you don't pray in the will of God, and make sure you look at the Bible, all these different things. And really, I got to a place where I realized that it was just how I honestly communicate with everyone, right? The Lord knows you. So for me, I'm a big thinker. I'm always in my head thinking things. And
me too. I get it.
That's why it's important for me to have a journal when I'm praying, because the Lord communicates to me that way. So he knows the best way to get to you is typically the natural way that you kind of live the world, because he wants it to seem, if it's a big James Earl Jones voice, I might be driving, might swerve off the road and go meet him quicker than he intended for me to get to him. So
right.
I just really am happy that I was able to get to a place to understand that, so this is what prayer feels like. This is what it is. And when I get these thoughts and get these different things that line up with his word and line up with what I've been taught and line up with all those things, that it really is him talking to me. It's not, this
voice. And that's so good. I think people get caught up in, what does God sound like? And how do I know that I'm hearing from God? So I love that. For you, it's not an audible voice. And we're not saying that's not real, because some people do.
Some people say they do hear.
Yeah, some people do experience that, but for the most part, for me, I don't. That's not my common interaction with God. But I love what you said. You're like, it's not a voice. It's more so just a peace. Is that what you what you would say? Is there something different for you? Like when you know, like I know I've heard God. Is there like a certain vibe you get, or just a knowing, like what happens when you know?
It's usually like when I read a scripture. For me, that's how I know, like, that's him speaking. I would read a scripture and it's like confirmation for something that I've either been believing for or struggling with. He will also use other people. I know there's been times when I'll be in church and I'm like, were they in my house last night? Because it's like,
they all in your business.
You in my business. But for me, that's usually, how I know that I'm hearing from him. I haven't heard, James Earl. But
although that is what God would sound like.
In my mind, I feel like when we get to heaven, it's
going to be like Mufasa.
Yeah. But I think what Andy said is so key. Is we're made in God's image, so I think sometimes people forget. God has a sense of humor.
Yes, he does.
He's not like this. Yes, keep the reverence, but I was telling my nephew this because he had been dealing with a lot and just feeling down, and I told him, when you go to pray to God, you don't have to say this big prayer with all of these SAT words. Just how you and I are talking, go talk to him that way. And I know for me, there's been times when I'll straight up say, I'm mad right now. I'm mad. And, even if you think of different people in the Bible, the way that they interacted with God, you have Job. It's like you just have those candid conversations with God. I think that's what he desires, because it's like you're being real with him and telling him exactly how
what's
you feel.
What's going on. Yeah. And as of late, I've been doing this. I've been getting my journal. And when I'm vulnerable with God, y'all, it's always I bring him the emotions. I'm a girl, right? So I feel a whole lot. And I bring him all the emotions I'm feeling. Some of them are really not that great. Some of them are low self-esteem, not enough confidence. Am I enough? Can I do this kind of thing? Especially when there's something that he called you to. And it's always that doubt, oof, I don't know if I can do that, And so I bring him my thoughts and my emotions. And what he's been doing with me lately is so good. I write down the lie, right? I write down what I'm telling myself in my head, you're not enough, you're not good enough. And then I'll find scriptures that tell me the truth. And so that's been helping me out a whole lot, because it speaks directly to my plight, And so I'll find a scripture and the Lord says, no, this is what I'm saying about you. And I'm able to read that and go, oh, okay, Lord, I may not be enough, but you are.
Yeah, that's good.
And so you're going to help. If you've called me to it, you're going to see me through it. Isn't that something people always say? And that's so true. He will. But I think it's just me believing that, getting my mind there where my spirit already is, right? And it's always that battle.
The battle in your mind.
Yeah.
And I feel like, sometimes God already knows all, right? So if we come to him in prayer and I used to put on a facade a lot. I used to, when you in church and you hear people pray different things, if I could just pray like that, pray like this, and
she anointed, they anointed,
and then you
Father
read
God
scriptures and be like, Lord, you called me to be the head and not the tail, above and not beneath, and I have dominion, and all these different things. You pray that because you feel like if you don't pray that, then you're not in faith. You can't doubt when you pray. You can't be scared if you pray. You can't walk in fear. That's the opposite of faith. That's the opposite of God. So it's I would be in so much condemnation. I'd pray all these prayers that look great on paper, I sounded great. And I would leave still feeling unfulfilled. I would leave still feeling, Lord, just told me one time, he's like, because you're not real. He's like, I already know everything. I know you from the inside out. So what is wrong with you coming to me and just talking to me real?
Yes.
He's like, you can be real with everybody else but me. Why is that?
Wow.
And so I got down to the
Wow.
point where, you know,
That's good.
I just come to him now and I'm like, listen, why? Like,
Yeah.
Lord, what is this? This, tell me something.
Right.
Like, you know, and then we're able to kind of move from there. But it's really a time, I believe, that prayer is designed for communication and just complete vulnerability.
Yes.
It's complete pouring out yourself so that you can be filled, and then your mindset and point of view will shift to be more like his.
Yes.
Because if you come in and you're not real, you're still filled with your stuff.
Mm-hmm. Truly. And
Wow.
I think it's showing God the dark places in our life. That's the vulnerability part. It's the ugly part. It's the part we don't necessarily like that we do, but we still do. You know, it's the things, it's the habits that we've done and over the years. It's the thought process. It's all that. But it's showing our darkness to God. And the only way light can shine is if that darkness is shown. You know what I'm saying? It's the only way that light can shine on it and start cleansing a lot of that stuff out that we've been taught.
Yeah.
Over the years, even the stuff we thought about ourselves. You know?
I like that.
I love this
Yes.
conversation. I love how real y'all are. I just thank y'all for that. But I wanted to know if there was ever a time that you ever felt condemnation for like not praying before. Like maybe you didn't pray about something, you kind of did your own thing, and you was like, oof, that hurt. Did God give you like a, I don't know, in those kind of times?
I don't know. I would say maybe the condemnation came from myself. Like, I don't think that God has ever, you know, even when he corrected me, it's always been in love.
It's always
you know,
been in love, yeah.
Even when I missed the mark, it's just so amazing. So many things that should have happened did not happen. And I know that it's nothing but God's love and protection. You know, he doesn't want to see us fail. It's not like those people, I told you so, you shouldn't have did it. But, you know, he's always there loving you, ready to accept you. That's just the enemy, you know, playing on your mind to make you feel like you didn't pray hard enough, or like Andy said, you didn't say all the powerful words and the scriptures to back it up. So for me, I think it was self-condemnation to feel like I wasn't enough and I missed the mark, you know. So
it was never God coming down on you, and you never felt that. And we know that, right? But sometimes I meet people that they do feel that God is coming for them, and I think that might be from what they've been taught growing up.
Yeah.
Like God's angry with you. You know, and there is some kind of theology out there that says if you're not doing everything perfect, God's mad, you know, and you didn't backslide, you a backslider.
Yeah.
You know, like,
that's true.
You need to get your life right, you get it together, and so then you feeling all like, okay, he don't love me no more, you know, and all this is going on. But I love that. You're just
And I read something the other day that said that people really believe that when you're going through something bad, God is teaching you a lesson, like in the sense of you shouldn't have did it, so he's reprimanding you.
It's like a nanny boo boo.
Yeah, and I'm like,
that's petty.
That's not the love of God.
That's just petty. That's not even. That's
you know.
I may be petty, but the Lord we serve is definitely not petty.
Jesus didn't come for that.
He didn't come to be petty. He didn't die.
Right.
To be petty.
That's not what he meant.
We're made in His image, but pettiness, no.
Listen, but it happens.
It does happen,
Yeah.
and I feel like, you know, along with that, for me, sometimes, even though, you know, I understand and I know that it's nothing that I do to get God to move, that grace is already there.
Yeah.
But there's certain times where certain things happen. I'm like, man, did I not get this position because I haven't been praying? And did I not do this? And did I not know? And then it sometimes can paralyze you to be like, well, since ain't no sense in me going to God praying now, since I ain't been praying for how long?
That's
then
good.
Yeah. It's like, don't come to Him now when you want something.
Don't come to Him now.
Yeah.
That's the discussion. Don't pray for Him now because you ain't been praying. And when it's good times, you know, you hear the sermons that say, don't come to God just when it's bad. Be with Him in good. If you're not with Him, it's bad. You know, all these different things that kind of play into that mindset. And, you know, the Lord just consistently is always dealing with me and just telling me, like, listen, it's a relationship. It's not anything else. And so whenever you're in a relationship with someone, it doesn't matter. You know, you have those friends. It doesn't matter how long you talk to them, and you get back to them and you pick right back up.
Back up.
Yeah.
And it's like you haven't missed a beat.
Yeah.
And the Lord kind of gave me that. So He's like, I'm always with you. And He said, and you're always aware of my presence. So it doesn't, it's not like that. It's like you pick back up right where, you know, you
left
need
off,
me to be. Right, where we left off at. And, you know, He's like, I don't have to use lessons or disappointment or whatever to teach you a lesson. I mean, that's kind of sadistic, right? I wouldn't want
It
to serve a God
is.
that...
It is.
The lessons are right there in the Bible.
It's almost like manipulative in a way, you know?
I wouldn't want to serve a God like that, and that's definitely not the God that we serve.
Yeah.
So,
It's not.
like I
thank
said,
God he's not like
thank
that.
God, because he's not like humans.
I think we approach it from our flesh, our human mind, point of view. It's like, that's how we tend to do people. If they do us wrong or they only come when they want something, you cut off. And it's like, that's not,
Right.
that's not God's heart. That's not God's heart at all. In fact, he's always there, and it's a covenant. It's not, something where it's like, okay, well, it's terms to it. If you break this, then, we're no longer in this contract. It's a covenant.
Right.
He's
It
always
is.
there. He's not going to break his promise. Like, he wants us to come back, even in the middle of whatever you're doing that's not in line with his word or desire for, your life. He still wants you to come. So,
That's
like
so
Andi said,
good.
it's not the God we serve, and that's humans projecting their God in their mind
In their
onto
mind.
other people. But according to the word, that's not God's
That's not
heart at all.
it. I
Yeah.
love that. And there's this like two-sided coin, right, of Christianity. There's the side of like God is his covenant with us, his love toward us, his mercy toward us, right? Mm-hmm. But the other side of that coin is our love shown toward others, our mercy shown toward others, the forgiveness that he's given us shown toward others.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I know we've all felt betrayed at one point, right? Like by family, by somebody did something wrong. It just happens. It's inevitable. How did you ladies prepare your heart to really share the love you receive from God with those who betrayed you, those who've done you wrong? Like, how were you able to work through unforgiveness in some instances? And you like, I'm going to push this to the side and I'm going to just love regardless of my feelings. Have y'all ever had that experience before? It is the way to do it. I remember, and I can kind of go, I remember I met my father for the first time, I think, 5 years ago now? And it was through Skype.
Wow.
And so here I am meeting him and meeting the whole family. And it was wonderful to meet them, right? But I kind of was at a loss for words because it was like I didn't know how to let him in because my life had already had all the pieces. Right. Like I've grown up most of my life not knowing him. So it was this thing of, how do I love him? Like, how do I let him in and not make him feel like you're just the child, the father that abandoned me, kind of, because your flesh kind of wants to go that way. But I remember the Lord told me something. He was like, Ashley, your heart's not big enough, but my heart is.
Wow.
That's good.
And he was like, so I need you to get my heart on him and love him, although he was an absent father, although he wasn't there, just kind of getting over all of the past. Because the past, and I can't change that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He can't change it, and I can't either. So it was just really real for me to forgive him for that.
Use the same analogy that Ash used. I met my father later on in life when I was in my mid to late 20s. And when I first met him, I honestly had already worked through, I thought, forgiving him for not being there, for being an absent father.
Yeah.
But so after I met him, my expectation was, okay, now that I've met you, we're going to have like this relationship now that I always wanted. And that didn't happen. And so then I realized that I forgave him, but I forgave him up until what my expectation was. So it's sometimes you forgive people up until what the expectation is. Like you have this, okay, I'm going to forgive you up until this point.
And then
But
at
this point, I can't. Right? And so I had to realize, and the Lord told me, is that you still had expectations out of him, and the only person you need to have expectations of is me.
Wow.
And so it was really a huge revelation for me, because I thought I was like, no, I forgave him or whatever, but when that relationship wasn't started afterwards, I had to realize that then you have to go back. So I've had experiences where it's like, I forgive you, I forgive, but then it's like, no, you forgave up to your expectation, not God's. Wow. So that was a key moment for me in terms of forgiveness.
Wow. That's deep. Wow. I'm going to get that. I'm going to take that in my notes.
For me, I just had an experience in my childhood where I felt like my innocence was stripped of me, and someone that was supposed to love and protect me violated me. And for years, you know, I struggled with different things. Like, I didn't know what I liked. I didn't know how I felt. Just so many different things. And I think it was a root of that violation. And so I don't know how. I forgave him. And, you know, I don't have a close relationship with that individual now. You know, they're still in the family. But, you know, when I see them, it's no, you know, ill feelings. But I guess for me, when I made a decision to forgive and move forward, I felt like in order to move forward with my life, I needed to forgive them. And if it was something that I had done, I would want to be forgiven as well. So, you know, sometimes some people struggle with it. It's like, but you don't know what they did. They should have never done that. You know, and as cliche as it sounds, it's truly for you to move forward. Because I feel like if I were to hold on to what was done to me, there's no way I could now, you know, go and be a blessing to other people or share with other people, hey, like, you can move past this or be a light or minister to people, because you have this anger or bitterness bottled up in you. So and it's something, honestly, I haven't really shared this with my family. So when they see this, you know, I might get a call from my mom. But it's just it was something that, like I said, for all of my childhood and early teens, like, I just, and I felt like in the beginning, felt like that was just what I needed to do. Because, like, Andy, I grew up in the church, like, you hear about forgiveness, but I had to truly, truly make a decision to forgive that individual. And, you know, it's not something that I've ever, you know, had a conversation with them about, but I truly forgave them and moved forward. But,
I think one thing we can all agree is forgiveness is not easy, you know.
No.
And sometimes it's not even easy to receive, right? Because you know what you've done or to the extent of what you've done, and you think, how can anybody ever forgive this, you know? But God is so faithful, and He's so loving. And I think the times that I've done the worst, y'all, is the times that I've felt God's love the most, you know, like when I really at that time didn't deserve it. But I just so appreciate you two ladies for sharing your heart with me today. You about made me cry.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And, I just love you two ladies. I really do. And I thank y'all for being here.
Thank you.
So, ladies, I pray you got something from this. We just pray that you have an awesome, awesome day. We pray God's blessing, God's favor, and God's love over you to both receive His forgiveness and to forgive others. And we thank you for joining us today at our first #WELL Talk. We'll see y'all soon. Bye.